Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where we climb the online VGC 15 ladder. Picking it up from yesterday, I've changed my team a bit, got my hands on a Conkelder, which I actually haven't used at all this season, so that should be exciting. It's Assault Vest, and you'll see the moveset later, but basically I've been using Hariyama for a really long time, but I decided I'd switch it up and bring the Conkelder, mainly for Mach Punch, because that really threatens Bisharp, which I hate playing against. I'm also going to be trying out Mega Mawile and Zapdos in today's episode, so a considerable team change, and it should be interesting. In yesterday's episode, we were able to hit 1851, which is good for top 5, I believe, in the US, but obviously we want to climb to the #1 spot in the country, and even if the world if possible. But 1865, opponent from Japan to start it off. My opponent here's got a team of Kangaskhan, Landorus T, Rotom Wash, Hydreigon, Talonflame, and Gengar, so obviously a very highly rated player, pretty standard team in the sense that those are all Pokemon that you see very often in VGC. So looking at it, Hydreigon definitely helps out a lot against my opponent's team. I would guess Landorus T is Scarfed and Hydreigon is either Spexed or Life Orbed. Kangaskhan obviously Mega. Gengar has the potential to be Mega too, but most likely Focus Sashed. Rotom Wash, Citrus Berry, Leftovers, Talonflame, probably Life Orb or Bandit. So a very offensive team, but a good amount of bulk too. Rotom Wash is one of the bulkier ones. Kangaskhan's naturally bulky. Landorus is bulky as well. Mawile could be good here, but it's going to want the Zapdos to get some paralysis off. So I'm going to keep that in mind. Let's see. Bisharp's able to outspeed the Rotom Wash, which is always nice, but obviously he's got Kangaskhan. Landorus here is actually decent because my opponent doesn't have a way to, take and intimidate. No Bisharp on my opponent's team, but this is definitely a tough matchup because I'm running so many physical type attackers, and he's got 2 potential ways to burn me, possibly even 3 if Talonflame carries Will-O-Wisp like we saw in yesterday's episode. So, let's see what I want to lead with. I feel like going with Hydreigon. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Hydreigon. I'm going to go Hydreigon Conkelder. Conkelder threatens most of my opponent's team. Zapdos in the back to take any potential Will-O-Wisps. And probably Mawile is my last one. Looking at this team, it doesn't have too many great ways to beat the Rotom Wash, so I'm going to have to try to target down and KO it immediately. But you know what? I'm going to lock in with these. We'll see how it goes. Of course, Mawile does get access to Intimidate. Normally, it's more often probably seen on Trick Room teams, but I'm not running Trick Room, obviously. But you know, there have been many players that have been able to use it outside of Trick Room, like Ray Rizzo and Colin Hire, both who placed very well in tournaments last year. So I'm going to go with my Scarf Hydreigon and my Assault Vest Conkelder, as my opponent goes with Rotom Wash and Kangaskhan. So that's a pretty good matchup. Shiny Kangaskhan nonetheless. Yeah, I mean, obviously the advantage is in my favor here. I do think I want to pick up the KO here on Rotom as quickly as possible. I'm going to Draco Meteor that for sure. The question is what I really want to do with Conkelder. If I were my opponent, I'd fake out the Hydreigon and just Will-O-Wisp Conkelder, to be quite honest. Let's see. I've got Mawile and Zapdos in the back, and those really annoy the Kangaskhan, especially Mawile. See, once I knock out Rotom, it won't be nearly as easy for my opponent to burn me. So you know what? I'm just gonna Draco the Rotom and go for the Drain Punch onto Kangaskhan. Even if he gets the burn off, that's fine. I'm not too worried about that. I should actually check whether I have Guts on this one or not. I'm pretty sure it is Guts. So obviously the burn actually helps me. So this actually is a really advantageous lead matchup. Let's see what my opponent goes for, though. Going for the Fake Out onto Conkelder. Okay. So that's going to allow my Hydreigon to get a really nice Draco Meteor off here. In retrospect, maybe I should have targeted Kangaskhan just so I could Mach Punch it next turn for the KO. But you know what? That's fine. I'm going to get a lot of damage off here. Huge amounts of damage, actually. As he goes for the Will-O-Wisp onto Hydreigon. Interesting, maybe expecting a switch there, but no switch for me. Leftovers Rotom, so not the Citrus Berry, but the other item you often see on it. That was definitely a good first turn. I got a lot of damage off. My opponent didn't do much. I should probably just quickly check this Conkelder. I'm almost sure it's Guts. Let's see. Yep, it is Guts. However, that Fake Out actually puts me in, for example, Double Edge or Mach Punch KO. Excuse me. He might be able to KO me with just a return, which is slightly problematic. So I'm thinking of switching into Mawile and going for the Drain Punch, but he also might double target Conkeldurr. So that's kind of a risky play. I could just Draco Rotom once again. You know what? I'm gonna switch into Mawile and go for the Drain Punch. I do lose some momentum here, but I want to conserve this Hydreigon because Hydreigon gives my opponent a lot of trouble. And this way, Conkeldurr should be able to take its the attacks coming from Kangaskhan, but I guess we'll see. This is a slightly riskier play because Conkeldurr is going to go last, so it kind of ensures... he goes for the Protect with Rotom, though. That is what I was hoping for. So that's really good. Let's see what Kangaskhan goes for. Double Edge onto Conkeldurr, and wow. Hangs on with 25 HP. Very nice. It's going to take a lot of recoil, and I'm going to get a very, very nice Drain Punch off here. Will it be enough to KO? It will be. So I pick up the one-hit KO on Kangaskhan. That's basically as perfect as a turn as I wanted there. The Intimidate obviously saved Conkeldurr from fainting. I thought the Rotom might want to protect to save itself from a Draco Meteor, and now I can safely switch in Hydreigon back once again. So, pretty fantastic turn, but now he's going to be able to get a free switch into whatever he wants, which is obviously slightly problematic. Looks like Talonflame's coming in here. That's definitely a good switch in for my opponent. So he's kind of got to, he's really got to Brave Bird Conkeldurr, otherwise, I'm thinking of protecting Mawile and switching to Zapdos, because my opponent really has no way to deal with Zapdos. And my opponent had, let's see, Gengar, Hydreigon, and I believe Landorus T as his last three. All which Hydreigon deal with really well, so... I do have Rock Slide on this Mawile as well, so he might want to go for the Will-O-Wisp, but... You know what, I'm just going to go for the Rock Slide, and... the Drain Punch. Or I could play it a bit safer. You know, I'm gonna protect and switch to Zapdos. That's a safer play. The only issue here is if he sets up a Tailwind, but even if he does, like I said, he doesn't really have many ways to deal with the Zapdos, which is Citrus Berried as well. So getting in Zapdos for free here is really nice, and I could have went for the more aggressive play, but I don't want Mawile getting burned this early yet. So let's see. He does go for the Brave Bird into the Zapdos. Okay, that's good. So the Zapdos switch-in ended up playing out as perfectly as I wanted to. As it does a lot of damage, that looks like a Choice Band Talonflame to me. As it is. And he goes for the Will-O-Wisp into Mawile. So that was basically as perfect of a turn as I could have gotten. He's basically got to switch out Talonflame now, because obviously Brave Bird's not going to be doing much against either of my Pokemon. Although it did do a lot of damage to Zapdos. Let's see, he had Hydreigon, Landorus T, and Gengar. So I could Thunderbolt that slot for a pretty free KO. But the question is, he's most likely going to switch that. But the question is what's in the back. So I could actually Thunder... Unfortunately, I don't have HP Ice here, which would help against a potential Landorus switch-in. Thunderbolt, and I'm really thinking of just play roughing the Rotom Wash for a knockout. Let's see, who do I have in the back? Conkeldurr, Hydreigon. I can't really take Banded Brave Birds, though. This is tough. Okay, I'm gonna switch back to Conkeldurr and T-Bolt the Rotom Wash spot. Yeah, Talonflame does switch out, which is good. Let's see what comes in. Looks like Hydreigon. So I should have probably T-Waved or play rough that spot. But getting Conkeldurr back in here is really good too, so I'm fine with that. As Zapdos goes for the T-Bolt onto Rotom. Will it be enough to knock it out? Oh, it does actually. I wasn't expecting that knockout, but that plays out really well. That's really good because now I can just switch Mawile back in for the Intimidate. So, that ended up playing out perfectly, though I really was going to tempted to Iron Head / play rough the Hydreigon spot. Let's see. He's got a Brave Bird the Conkeldurr spot. Or he might Flare Blitz Zapdos, but I think he's going to go for the Brave Bird onto Conk. And you know what? I'll just let him. I'll go for the Mach Punch here onto Hydreigon, and I'm also going to go for the T-Wave to paralyze it. He does go for the Brave Bird. Conkeldurr has done his job here. And he's got a Draco Meteor in my Hydreigon. If he doesn't, then Zapdos is just going to paralyze it. So I'm in a good position for sure. Let's see. Oh wow, I'm actually even faster than the Hydreigon. That's basically going to be game, because Mawile with Rock Slide in the back can seal things up pretty perfectly. Oh, as he goes for the Dark Pulse. Okay. Does a lot of damage there to Zapdos. Doesn't knock it out, though. And now I can just safely bring in my Mawile. And that's pretty much game. Though I'm curious what item that Hydreigon has and what its EV spread is. But obviously not Scarfed. So Intimidate here is going to help. I am going to just... See, I don't want a potential miss, so I'm tempted to just Iron Head Hydreigon, but... You know, I'm just going to play rough, and... I'm not sure if Iron... You know, I think Iron Head plus T-Bolt can KO, but I don't want Brave Bird to say crit my Zapdos. You know what, I'm going to just Mega Evolve here, and go for the Roost. If he KOs me, then I get a free switch into Hydreigon, which makes his matchup even tougher, but obviously I'm in a really, really good position right now. That Thunderbolt knockout onto Rotom was really helpful. Let's see. Probably could have saved the Mega Evolution there, but not really a big deal. He does go for the Brave Bird onto a Zapdos slot, as expected. Let's see how much damage this does. -1 Talonflame. Doesn't pick up the knockout, perfect. In retrospect, I probably could have I should have Thunderbolted Talonflame instead, since I knew I was faster, but I can Thunderbolt this next turn, so that's fine. He really can't beat Roost Zapdos at this rate. Dark Pulse into Mawile, yep, perfect. So that indicates me it's probably Choice Specs. So I'm just going to Iron Head that spot. I don't want to risk the miss, and Thunderbolt Talonflame here. And my opponent's just going to forfeit, knowing there's not much she can do. So I'm going to be able to win the first game of the day in a close match for sure. I was very happy to not see Landorus T as my opponent's last one, but one of the reasons why I have Bisharp on this team is to prevent the Landorus T. So it definitely gave a lot of help. Zapdos did a lot of work there. Conkeldurr picking up the knockout onto Kangaskhan was huge, and that's why I like Conkeldurr. It's one of the best checks to Kangaskhan, but of course Double Edge / Return still does a lot, so it is why I have 2 Intimidators on this team and Speed Control in terms of Zapdos. But huge win for me there, as my rating jumps up to 1867, so only 33 points away now from the 1900 goal we're aiming for. So that would be super, super awesome. Been able to pick up a bunch of nice wins against really highly rated players, so that's always great. And hopefully we can just keep it up in the next couple of battles. I think Battle Spot's ending in just a couple of days, so like I said in yesterday's episode, it'd be really nice to hit 1900 before it ends, but yeah. In addition, I think I'm actually going to be streaming tomorrow, probably with a different game cartridge, since I don't want to touch this game given how high the rating is. But if you don't follow me on Twitch, definitely check me out at twitch.tv/CybertronVGC. Probably be streaming between 7 to 10 o'clock Eastern time, so definitely check that out. And as always, there will be another episode of Road to Rank that should go up there before, so keep your eyes open for that. Should be exciting, and I am planning on getting into weekly streaming. It's been a thing I've wanted to do for a long time. Now I have, an overlay, a good internet, new laptop equipment, and everything. Should be a lot easier to do. So we're just gonna currently look for our second opponent of the day. Looking back at that last battle, I think it just ended up playing out really well. I mean, it kind of showed how this team functions. In terms of switching and momentum. One of the more difficult things about this team is obviously, like I said, Rotom Wash did give me some issue in the beginning, but I realized it was one of the bigger threats, so once that went down, Zapdos was really able to come in and have a nice time. Looks like it's taking a while to find the second opponent of the day, but no worries there. But yeah, Mega Mawile is also a really interesting Mega. I've used a lot so far on this series. I've used things like Kangaskhan, Metagross. Wow, I actually can't find an opponent. Let's try that again. Normally it finds you opponents, so that's kind of weird that no one was looking there, but the matchmaking system sometimes fails to look for someone. But like I was saying, Mawile it was one of the best Megas, if not the best Mega in VGC 2014, especially by the end of the season. I know I used it a lot on my Trick Room team, but I haven't been able to use it much. But I think Mawile is still really, really powerful, especially now that Trick Room is even more viable because Cresselia is a Pokemon and you have all these different Trick Room users and whatnot. So, you know, if you can make it fit, definitely try to. And it's great with speed control, too. The Zapdos, Hydreigon, Mawile, Conkeldurr, all 4 of those were actually on Colin Hyer's 2014 Worlds team, and he placed 3rd there. So, you know, that's a pretty common core that you see around. And Conkeldurr is still really, really good in this year's VGC format as well. So, still looking for opponents. This is taking quite a while, but hopefully we find a trainer soon. I am eager because we are very, very close to hitting 1900. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty exciting. When I started the series, I was kind of fluctuating between the 1600s and 1700s, mainly because I was kind of throwing teams together, but I think all this practice has helped a lot, and it should be exciting. We are still looking for a trainer. Oh my goodness, guys. Bear with me. It really doesn't take this long normally to find someone, so I'm not sure what's going on. If I can't find someone in the next minute, I'm probably just going to call it a day, to be honest. Oh, but we find an opponent, 1556 from Japan. L Music Note Taxi. So my opponent here's got a team of Volcarona, Rotom Wash, Mawile, Cresselia, Garchomp, and Breloom. I'm just gonna quickly get my opponent's team down. Okay. That's a really interesting team. A lot of familiar Pokemon with Cresselia, Breloom. Well, first of all, you know, 3 of the Pokemon that were allowed last year with Rotom Wash, Mawile, and Garchomp. But then you see Cresselia, Breloom, and Volcarona. Those are all relatively they were all really common in VGC 2013. I actually used Breloom to win a regional championship, and I've actually used Volcarona and Crest too to win tournaments, but they're all really strong Pokemon. Volcarona gets access to Quiver Dance and Follow Me, which is scary. Back in the old VGC days, it had access to the gems too, like Bug Gem and Fire Gem, so a lot of the times you'd Quiver Dance and then get a Bug Gem Bug Buzz off, which was a great counter to Cresselia, but now obviously gems aren't really in the game. Breloom most likely is Focus Sash, that is typically the most common set. Interesting to see my opponent having Garchomp and not the common Landorus T that most teams opt to go for, but Garchomp is a really nice check to the ever-present Charizard Ys out there. So looking at my opponent's team, I'm definitely scared of the Breloom. I actually had safety goggles on the Zapdos, but I got rid of it for Citrus Berry, so maybe that wasn't the best of decisions, but well, we'll see. I'm liking Hydreigon Landorus as a lead, to be quite honest. I can just get a lot of damage off immediately, double target Breloom for a KO, etc. So you know what, I'm gonna go with those two. Mawile is definitely excellent in this match against most of his team, barring Rotom Wash and Volcarona, so I'm gonna want to take care of those. Bisharp probably not the best one. Bisharp's not bad in this match, to be quite honest either, but I think I'm gonna keep Conkeldurr out of this one, mainly because he's got Cress and Mawile. So it's between Zapdos and Bisharp. Who do I want to bring more? I think Bisharp is definitely scared of Garchomp. Oh, I am running out of time here. You know what? I'm actually going to go with Bisharp. Not sure if that was the right call, but it does scare off Mawile a bit more, and if I can get a Intimidate from the Mawile, I could easily punish it. Zapdos doesn't really have a way to touch Garchomp, though in retrospect, I think Zapdos would have been a better call. I had Roost and Thunder Wave on it, and I do have Heat Wave on it as well, so it could really annoy his Breloom and Mawile, so I'm already kind of regretting not bringing it, but I guess we'll see whether it costs me or not. Looks like he's going with Breloom and Volcarona as his leads. That's actually a perfect lead matchup here for me, as I get the Intimidate off on both of his Pokemon. But yeah, that's a really solid lead here. Even if his Breloom is Choice Scarf, I have Choice Scarf Hydreigon, so I can just outspeed it there. I'm gonna Draco, and you know, he's probably gonna want to switch out the Volcarona, but the only thing I really fear coming in here is probably Mawile. So I'm kind of tempted to Earthquake rather than go for the Rock Slide. Earthquake hits his team for a lot harder. I'm definitely Draco Meteoring the Breloom here. It's just what I want to do with Landorus. I could also U-turn, but Landorus is in a really nice position right now, so I don't think I want to. You know what? I think I'm going to Earthquake instead of Rock Sliding, in case he decides to switch. Oh wow, but we're not going to see any switches here. I'm just going to get the Draco off. No Protect from either Pokemon too. So obviously Rock Slide might have been a better move there. That is Sash Breloom, but I should be able to outspeed it here with Landorus. As he goes for this Bug Buzz right away here onto Hydreigon. Will that KO? Yes, it will. So obviously I should have Rock Slided there, but I was really anticipating maybe a Mawile switch in, but you know what, that's fine. I'm gonna get his Choice Band Earthquake off. Actually KOs his Volcarona and his Breloom, so I wasn't expecting the Oko onto Volcarona, but I will take that any day, guys. That's awesome. So I knocked out basically the two biggest threats to my Bisharp, so I'm going to be able to bring that in safely, and now if he has any physical type attackers, I can just rotate my Intimidators out. I'm expecting Mawile to be this last one, but let's see. So Bisharp comes in for free here, and it is Mawile, so now I'm actually glad I brought Bisharp. So that's exactly why I brought out Bisharp, just in case, you know, I could pick up the Defiant boost there, and, you know, hey, I'm not complaining at all. I think I can just switch out Landorus here to bring in the Intimidate. Though I could just protect Earthquake as well. I'm very tempted to go for that, but I think it might be smarter. That way I get a free switch into Mawile too, and he's going to be in a lot of trouble with the Mawile, but... Okay, I'm definitely protecting Bisharp here. The question is whether I want to Earthquake once again with Landorus or switch out. You know, I'm going to switch out to Mawile. That way I can reshuffle my Intimidates, and Landorus gives both of his Pokemon a lot of trouble. You know, by the time Landorus comes in, both of his physical type attackers are going to be at -2, so... Mawile coming in here, intimidating both of my opponent's Pokemon. I'm obviously in a fantastic position right now. And you do see why I went for the Earthquake there. He did have two Pokemon that were would have taken a lot of damage had he switched out Breloom or Volcarona, which I honestly was expecting to. So Mawile here is a bit vulnerable, but we'll see what my opponent goes for. He goes for the Rock Tomb onto Mawile. Out of any move, that was not the one I was expecting, but that's cool to see, as that's going to lower my speed, and it is actually Life Orb Garchomp, which is cool to see. And he Fire Fangs into the Bisharp, but to no success. So that's obviously great. Now I can just Sucker Punch the Garchomp and Iron Head his Mawile, to be honest. Or I could switch my Mawile back into Landorus, which is also what I'm tempted to do. But he might protect here with the Garchomp and just play rough Bisharp, which is the fear right now for sure. Alternatively, he could protect Mawile and just go for the Earthquake. So... let's see. Still haven't won yet, especially because Landorus is banded and would have to Earthquake into my partners, but... you know what? I'm gonna Iron Head into his Mawile here and just go for the... play rough, yeah. And should he go for the Protect Earthquake play, Mawile should be able to hang on and KO his Garchomp, so I don't mind making this. It's basically should ensure a knockout. Oh, but he actually just goes for a Rock Tomb once again onto Bisharp. Not sure what my opponent's going for there. That's actually going to increase my attack even more. And the speed boost, the speed decrease isn't going to affect me this turn, so Bisharp should just be able to knock out the Mawile here. He was probably predicting the Landorus T-switch in, but, perfect. Rock Tomb Garchomp, kind of interesting. You know, obviously it's not affected by Wide Guard, and you can still probably one-hit KO Charizard there. But instead, both of my attacks connecting, and we're going to take a really quick win in the second game of today's episode, as Rough Skin, you know, barely dents Mawile. But Landorus T, definitely the MVP of this game, knocking out both of my opponent's Pokemon that first turn. I really don't know why Hydreigon stayed in. You know, just based off my opponent's positioning, you would have thought like he would have switched in to some of the Pokemon in the back expecting a Rock Slide, but you know, maybe he knew that I was going to Earthquake there, and him not bringing Cresselia or Rotom definitely hurt him a lot because Earthquake was kind of able to just roll through his team. I don't think he had any real great ways to come back in the end as long as I played well, so I'm going to end up winning both battles today. The first battle obviously very, very close. Second game was also great, and that should put my rating around 1875, which is obviously fantastic. So that's really exciting. Should be cool, and hopefully we'll be able to hit 1900 in the next episode or two. So as always, leave a like if you enjoyed the battle, and I'll see you tomorrow. Alright, peace guys.